Hello there survivors and welcome back to another video in ARK Survival Ascended. And I've finally managed to finish my rebuild of the Redwood Castle ruins on Ragnarok. And since it took me quite a little bit longer than I first anticipated, I decided to do it not on stream, but rather focus down and try to finish this before the release of Valgrero. But don't worry, instead of streaming, I did record all the building that I did, so I will be editing those videos as well and posting them if you want to follow along and try to build the entire ruins for yourself. Of course, I did see all the messages about this not being buildable for a lot of people. I think that's down to PvE settings. My private world is usually set to PvP settings, even though I play PvE, just because of these types of things. It just allows you to do more things, which is also what kind of demotivated me from keeping this going, because if not everyone can actually follow along, it's not as exciting to be building this. But I'm quite happy with the result of this ruin. I will say I did decide not to rebuild all the small little house buildings because first of all, they are actually very, very small, so there's not a lot that you can do there, and there wouldn't even be a decent amount of space in most of these houses to use as yourself. So, of course, if you really want to, you could rebuild them all and you really get like a little town feeling as well, but I decided to keep it rather open. And so you can just use the space as something else. But more importantly, we have rebuilt the entirety of the main keep as well as the front gate and fixed up some of the other walls that had some holes in it. And I'm very happy with the results. And even if you're not rebuilding these specific ruins, I think there's a lot of lessons here or a lot of inspiration you can take for your own rebuilding project or even your own proper castle builds. As always, if you enjoy seeing these builds and you want to see more like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course feel free to leave suggestions for future builds you'd like to see, whether that's ruin rebuilds, maybe one for the new map, or just other builds in general. Let them know down in the comments below. And with that, let's jump into this and let's take a look at the entirety of the castle. So of course, this is all built mostly using the Castle Craft custom cosmetics. It's a premium custom cosmetic, but if you're gonna be building any castles and you can't install a proper mod like CKF that you need to have on the server, but you need to use cosmetics, for example on official, it's probably the best tool out there to really get some cool castle vibes going. And even though it already had a ton of options, there's more being added to this skin every few months, which is amazing because, yeah, there is so many possibilities already. So quick overview, we have the main gate here at the bridge. Quite happy with the way that turned out. Two simple towers, the gateway itself, and some of these really cool knight statues that have been added to Castlecraft. Then, of course, we have the big tower that we already did. Video for that tower here. This one, as well as this one behind it, is already up on the channel. We have the new tribe tower. That looks quite cool, which actually is a tower itself. Very nice effect. We have a medium teleporter with some cool statues, which is definitely also a really cool tool. We have a bunch of cool statues, just a nice courtyard here, as well as a tower with the tech replicator in it. Just figured that I would place that down because it just has a really cool effect, and especially then once you turn it on, it just kind of works very, very well within the medieval or fantasy theme. And yeah, I kind of like the rebuilt tower. I did decide to leave some of the things just broken down because I kind of wanted to embrace the ruins vibes quite a lot. And then of course we have the main keep right here, which is fully rebuilt, and you can use all of the different floors and levels on the inside to decorate. Just a quick little disclaimer, I did not decorate everything. I just finished the builds. I did some decorations here on the outside, as you can see, but most of it I kept as is. I also did not remove a lot of the overgrown vibes because I kind of like to embrace the fact that it has been a ruin. Of course, if you start living here, certain areas you might want to clear out some of the overgrown vibes, but I quite like it at the same time, so decided to keep it for now. Yeah, this tower we already had. We have a brand new gate here, which kind of sections of this part of the castle and the rest. These two little towers is actually just the the sides of a behemoth gate, which is quite cool. And we have a little building over the top as well, and just the gatehouse itself. Quite like the way that turned out. We have a similar thing here. Instead, we don't have the building on top, just, you know, as a little bit of a change, but similar effects. And we also have some scaffolding. It's just kind of blocking up these gaps in the wall. I kind of liked adding that, like the rebuild process is still going on. Of course, over here we have the one house we rebuild on stream. I don't think I posted a separate video for this one, but there is in one of the streams I did rebuilding the castle. And I also placed down some tents from the Castlecraft Deco mod just to make it feel a little bit more lived in. And then yes, some gaps of this wall you can see I filled up with more scaffolding just to make it look like they're actively still repairing some of the sections, which I quite like. Added some statues as well. We have this guard post and watchtower. We already have a video on that. And then of course this side gate, we already had a video on this first little bit as well. Still really nice little build and self-contained build. You could actually just build that and use that as a base to begin with quite easily. And then we have the same kind of tower design as we have for the replicator, but on all the way over here. Just think it works quite well, and all together just makes this castle feel quite cool. Very happy with the way this turned out, and I do think you could actually use this as a pretty decent base because there's quite a decent amount of space on the inside. As I said, I have not actually decorated most of these things, but you have these towers. You can go all the way up there. You actually have a decent sized building up here as well. Again, there is no interior, but there is a decent amount of space in here, and of course access to the roofs as well. You can see I kept all the plants in here, so it's a bit overgrown on the inside, but especially combined with some of the deco statues and stuff that the skin pack has, as well as the other decor that the other Castlecraft mods offer. It's quite nice to get some really cool castle builds going. We got some of these ballistas on top here as defense, you know, just figured it would look the part. But yeah, once you get through this gate, which is a behemoth cellar door, by the way, this one, so yeah, fits in quite perfectly in this little gap. You of course have this area, and this already would be a pretty good place just to park your tames because you have a decent amount of space here. Walls are brown, so they're quite safe down here. There's even a little area here which you could use maybe for some breeding projects or, you know, hatching some creatures because it's nice and self-contained. I again blocked up some of the gaps in here with some scaffolding to make it look like it's still being rebuilt. And you actually have quite a long section here that you could use for your tames. There's actually small ruins like this. As I said, I did not rebuild all of those, but you definitely could if you wanted to turn them into like different separate housing. You know, maybe if you're a bigger tribe, you could definitely try to do all that. But as I said at the start, like they're very small, and a lot of these wouldn't really offer a lot of space because they already have a roof above their heads. So yeah, it's very small builds, but there's definitely something to be said for, you know, decorating and repairing all of these separate houses. But for now, I decided not to go ahead and do that, especially since so many of you guys said that you can't even build in half of these ruins. But yeah, there is definitely a lot of options here if you really want to go all out, and if you can go all out. Then of course we have the guard post we repaired a while back. This build video is already online as well. Decent amount of space in here to use as part of your base. Then you have more room here as well with this little building, and of course the watchtower itself. We have a little blacksmith over here, another decent sized house. This is one of the ruins that had a little bit more potential, decent amount of space on the inside, and then we managed to create a whole second layer on top of it. So you do have, you know, just a regular house, I would say. This would be pretty nice to start with, maybe. You know, if you don't want to go for the full gate all of a sudden, this would be a pretty decent thing to start with. Then we have the gatehouse itself, of course, the first building that I did. We have the double gate there with, you know, the little guards inside. And then we have the watchtower up here. We have my other chicken guard right over here too. And yeah, we have the main building. We have the walkways here so that you can keep guard, stand guard here. Keep an eye out on anything that approaches from here. And just in general, pretty cool gate. We've got plenty of statues around here as well as decorations, all of the banners of course, and then a little keep on the top as well to serve as a guard post, or you know, just part of your base depending on what you want to use it for. But yeah, quite like the way that it has come together, of course. And then right next door you have the big tower. Most of this tower is actually still intact itself. I guess you could lay down some foundations down here if you really wanted to be able to place things in here as well, of course. But more importantly, if you go all the way up, you will find that we now have the tower itself, so that you can at least build up here. You have some pretty amazing views from the top of here, of course, and we've got some defenses set up here. But yeah, more importantly, just a really cool looking tower, and it feels like it completes the pre-existing tower in a pretty satisfying way. Then we move over to the main keep. So we have the main street here. There's plenty of buildings you could rebuild if you wanted to. As I said, I didn't do that, but I did add some tents, kind of like maybe people are living there temporarily. We have then this gatehouse here, which is quite nice. A little bit of space up here if you wanted to use that for anything in particular, but more importantly, just filling in the gap that is normally here, just meaning, you know, there's a little bit more safety. Creatures just don't walk out from one section to the other. Before we go up to the main keep, actually, there is another bit of scaffolding here, repairing that bit of the broken wall. Then, yeah, we have this gatehouse to get in to the main quarters here of the keep. We have this tower here. Down below, I actually did pave over this entire structure, so you could use this for either, you know, hatching creatures or storage or smelting, you know, maybe putting a forge or something down here, whatever you need. And then if we go all the way up, of course, we get the tower that we built a little bit earlier. I think the video for this is already up on the channel as well, if you want to build this one yourself. It's just a really cool statement piece with a tower going all the way up. Oops, didn't skin everything there. But yeah, going all the way up. So plenty of cool places to get some cool views from. And then right across from that, we have this other tower, of course. There is actually doors here. There is also a way up all the way to the top so that you can reach this tower here, this square tower. Another really cool bit. It's quite easy to build. And then of course this connects to the broken tower on the other side. I didn't decide to rebuild this, but if you really wanted to, you probably can. You could at least, you know, lay down some foundations here, and then if you have a pillar here in the middle, I'm pretty sure you could build up and build out. But yeah, I kind of wanted to keep some of the ruin vibes still in place, so I decided to keep that tower just intact like it is. And then we have the main keep and the courtyard around it. I'm a really big fan of the new teleporter skins. The skins for the small ones, which is right over here. You can see it's very nicely blended in with the most normal stones. And then we have the medium-sized one here. It has a couple of variants, but I really like this one with the statues. Then you also have the large one, but there was not a big enough space to fit that anywhere, which you can have some, well, you can either have them just completely flat like the small one, but you can also have them with pillars standing around it, which is quite a nice little circle. And then you can even have a variant where some of those have fallen over, like it's a little bit more ruined, which is definitely also a nice option. But again, didn't really have a good spot for that, and I did have a good spot for this one. So instead now we have these really cool knight statues. And in general, we have just a really cool courtyard. This definitely feels the most like a proper castle. We have the water tank with the new skin as well, which is really cool. Little water well. Then we have the tribe tower skin, which is a really cool addition. Turns it into a proper tower. Just keep in mind that whatever you place it on, there's quite a long bit going down from the tribe tower. I think this is so that you can place it pretty much anywhere, but just keep in mind if you place it on top of a building, that will go into your building. So yeah, you best of placing it as its separate structure, which is what I did right there, because especially for this location, I felt like it could almost serve as some kind of lighthouse here, you know, signaling that the castle's here or something. But yeah, then we have the main keep. Quite happy with the way that turned out, which is a pretty intact structure actually, which I just tried to build in as good as possible. We have the main gate here to provide you access. We have some more of those cool statues around. We have actually some walkways all the way around this as well, looking quite nice. And then we have the back entrance here with more statues to really get that vibe going. And yeah, we have another gate right here as well, and a little bit of the scaffolding, as I said. But yeah, more importantly, we actually have completed floors. As I said, I didn't clear out any of the plants. You probably would want to do that inside of the buildings at the very least. And I did not decorate, but you can see I did manage to get a pretty good ground plan of foundations. And well, most doors will have a door. I guess I forgot this. I don't know why, but yeah, most of the outside doors like these have doors, so you can close them and you can close up your build, which is quite nice. Of course, it's a decent sized building, not very high roofs though, so it's a little bit narrow and everything in here, but yeah, you do have a decent amount of space. You can go up here. I did do a little bit of decorating in here. We have the smithy, we have some dedicated storage, which has a really nice skin, some of the small and normal storage, which has some cool skins as well. We have the fireplace skin, quite nice. There's no skin for the grill, unfortunately, but you could use the Astraeus one. I think I was testing it out a little bit. The preserving bin has a pretty good skin. The cooker has a really cool skin, as you can see. Definitely like that one a lot. And then this is the fridge right next to it. So hopefully, you know, in a while we'll have skins for all of the different things. But yeah, you can see a decent amount of space available here. We have a nice little balcony as well available here to enjoy some of the views of the courtyard before we can continue to go up with these stairs, which bring you all the way up to the top level. See, I forgot some more skins here on the inside. But yeah, then we're at the top of this level, which gives us access to the rooftop. We've got the small teleporter here. We have that wyvern statue here as well. Again, did not clear out most of the shrubbery. We do have a little building on top of here, so you can access that by this staircase. Got a little room here. This is actually the bunk bed skin, which is quite cool. We have a little balcony over here on the side, and then we have the main building right in here with some nice windows, light coming in. Another small little balcony over on this side. And then we have the staircase that we can follow all the way up to this layer, which is like halfway up the tower. Then we have the tower itself, and of course the top with a nice flag post. So yeah, that's the main keep building of this castle. But then right next door we have this tower. Now technically there's also a way to kind of walk in here, but just because ARK is ARK, you do have to crouch to fit through, which is quite funny, but it does kind of work, and you can make your way up to the next levels of the towers. The staircases, I kind of need to rearrange them. I didn't do them in the most logical order. I did this section, just the first section I didn't really pay attention too much. But yeah, you got these different sections. You can walk around on the balcony as well, and then you have an even higher tower with nice little balcony on the side, another layer all the way at the top that you can take a nice view around the castle and be almost at the highest point. The highest one is actually in this tower right next to it, but it does make for a cool statement piece and another really cool tower. And in general, I think it makes for a pretty cool castle, rebuilding these cool new ruins here on Ragnarok. I had quite a lot of fun. As I said, I was a little demotivated at some point because a lot of people could not actually build here. because of, I think because of the drops that sometimes land here. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, in the end, when I started building again, I did really enjoy it. I'm quite happy with the way this one turned out. I think it's quite a cool little castle base here, so hopefully you like it as well. And as I said, I did record all the building parts, so I will be editing those as quickly as possible so that you can follow along if you still want to rebuild this one for yourself. But even if you're not rebuilding it right here, hopefully at least some of these things can give you some inspiration for your next castle build as well. And as I said at the start, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and feel free to leave suggestions in the comments about what you like to see as the next build, whether that's a normal build or maybe another ruin. Do you want to see me rebuild some of the other castles or other ruins here in Ragnarok? And of course, on Valguero when that launches pretty soon, hopefully. There's definitely some exciting ruins there as well that we might try to rebuild. Anyway, thanks for watching today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.